Hear that lonesome whippoorwill. It sounds too blue to fly. That was nice. Let me get my collar. I just got out of the shower, y'all. The midnight train is whining low. I'm so lonesome I could cry. Have a good show, y'all. I woke up this morning next to you. I stared at the ceiling. What do I do? Do I stay? Do I go? Heck, I don't know. I woke up this morning wrapped in love. I stared at a photograph of us from above. Do I say I love you? What do I do? I feel the moon pulling me to the fields of the winter rain. There I will find my destiny. Come on, Stephen. Let's give it up for Stephen. Woke up this morning by your side. Wanted to touch you, but I wanted to hide. Do I sell all that I own? Or be alone? Woo! Here we go, y'all. All right, welcome to Little Big Voices. Woo! Glad that I'm with these people I love so much in the studio today. We got Shimmy on the video, technical directing. Let's give it up for her. Yeah. And we got her sidekick, Sparkle, running audio tonight. And I'm still getting dressed, Mom. I'm sorry. You know how I am, always waiting until the last minute before church. Hey, I want to, first of all, and we got Federico on stage management cameras tonight. Oh, man. You think he's from Spain, but he feels like he's just like around from here for some reason. And we got some great guests tonight. But first of all, I want to dedicate this show to my mom. And, and my dad. My dad, I miss him every day. He started, this is a picture of the year I was born in 1963. He's working in KLAW radio station in Lawton, Oklahoma. And I grew up around there. And I always felt like it was kind of a home. Like it was so cool to be sitting there and looking through the window when I was just a little kid, and all the DJs were in there and they were smoking because you could do anything then as a DJ. You were like, a real step above the general public. And it was just so cool to see him ripping news off the wire and reading it and just keeping people informed. And my dad was managing that station, but his name is Jerry Cadell, and this is actually the Jerry Cadell podcast studio. So right here. And I learned so much from that guy, man. I just learned he was such a sweet, sweet, sweet man. He passed 7 years ago. And but he was highly creative at a time that it wasn't that easy, just in public to, his generation didn't go, you know what, I think I'll take a couple years off and smoke some pot and just do some cool stuff, like we get to do now, but he found ways to be creative. He's a great writer. And I don't know, man, I miss him a lot, and I feel him here a lot in the studio, and I'm proud to be his son. But back to my mom, because it is Mother's Day. Mom, I wouldn't be here at this table. Obviously wouldn't be in this life without you. So I want to dedicate this show to you. I just wouldn't be here after all the stuff I've been through. You were always there, so thank you. And I want to dedicate to all the people who share the mother energy. You don't have to have a child to be a mother. You don't have to have a child to channel that energy. It's a beautiful, nurturing, big, beautiful, creative, relationship-based, just beautiful energy. So thank you to all out there that are sharing that energy with the world. We need it worse than ever right now. So thank you. First of all, you know what? We're going to check in with our show cook. What is a show cook, you might be asking? So I worked in this business a long time. Been on a lot of shoots, movies, stuff like that. Just a lot of people have done that. But I was like, who's going to make our meal? Like, where's their chef's hat and stuff? Anyway, I just swore if I ever had a show, I was going to have a show cook. So I would like to introduce Hermes today, episode 1 show cook. Hermes, man, thank you for being here. I'm just curious. Hermes is making our meal tonight. It's a cast, crew, and audience meal. Mm-hmm. And if you're ever lucky enough to be in the studio, you'll be lucky enough to get some show cook food. But I want to see what you're doing, Hermes. Like, what's going on in there? What process are we at? What are we having for dinner tonight after the show?
You think you grow up over time, but it's probably not that true because I'm just messing around with Play-Doh here, like back in the good old days. I'm making dough for the pie crust.
You're making the dough? Who does
I
that
know.
anymore?
That is just absolutely out of control, right? Yeah, no, it's every time I make a pie crust is a little different, so we'll see how this one goes. Is it flaky? Does it hold together? Does it taste right? Etc. Anyways.
I thought we were gonna get like HEB pie crust tonight.
What?
I'm just kidding. I
No
don't know
way.
if you're busy this week. I don't know. A lot of people had hard weeks this week. Anybody have a hard week this week? Yes. Yeah. So I didn't know, Hermes. Maybe you bought some pie crust for. And by the way, Hermes, I don't know if I told you this, but my mom, Darlene Cadell, who's watching tonight. Everyone say, "Hey, Darlene."
Hey, Darlene. Hey, Darlene.
So she was a home ec teacher, and she taught me how to make quiche. Was the very first thing she taught me, Hermes. So no pressure, but
hey,
I learned from the best.
I'm gonna stuff some through the camera for her. All right.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. You want to show us some food? What you're doing?
I mean, like I said, it looks just like I'm playing with Play-Doh right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you positive? I mean, you're really sure that's not Play-Doh?
80-20.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, but could have been switched at birth.
So what kind of quiches are we having tonight? What kind are you making?
So there are going to be a couple of sort of normal, more traditional, like zucchini and sausage, and cheese and egg, like normal quiche.
Yeah.
A couple of those, and then one that's vegetarian. That's got fake sausage and got tofu in there to give it kind of some body.
How do you think that sausage feels about you calling it fake?
Hey, I mean,
it has feelings, right? I mean, it came from a cow.
We need to decide
or didn't come from
our
a cow.
own, legitimacy, I guess. So it was right there on the label.
Do you call beef fake tofu?
That's a good one.
So I thought you'd like it.
Right.
Well, good. No. Well, we're going to be checking back in. Before I leave you, though, I just I want to talk about your farm a little bit. Like you have a farm, and What's it like out there? What are you doing?
I am doing aquaponic farming, right? So it's lots of leafy greens and fish. Although, big caveat, the fish are all dead right now, so it's hydroponic right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the only difference between hydroponic and aquaponic is there's dead fish in the water.
Is there? Let me be clear. There are no dead fish in the water at any point. You know,
Have
they're
you thought about
out.
just doing sushi and just working the whole thing?
Exactly.
The whole thing would work better. You're working way too hard for.
So hard. It's
some
just
stuff.
so. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely.
Well,
But yeah.
I love you, man. I'm so glad you're here. He drove in all the way in from, I don't know, a good 45 minutes or an hour into Austin.
Yeah.
Into South Austin, we call home. And so thanks, man. Can't wait to taste the quiche afterwards. And next up, I'd like to chat with you just a little bit about our guest tonight. We've got Tom Adjan that's going to come make us laugh. He makes me laugh. And then Stephen Davis is going to be on his magical ukulele, I call it. And after that, we're going to sit down and talk with Melba Martinez, a good friend, a great human, a really great artist, a great educator, just so impactful just in the community in Austin. And I get to call her my friend. So super excited about sitting down and talking to her. But we're going to have some fun tonight. And first, I thought we'd kick it off with a little chat with Tom. How are you doing, Tom?
Doing great.
Good. Let me pull that mic over a little bit so you can just, yeah. And Kathy, pull down the reverb a little bit on him. You know, just, he didn't want to sound like that important yet.
No.
Yeah. Well, how are you, man?
I'm good.
Yeah. What do you
Glad to
think
be
of
here.
this little ride so far? This little Big Voices ride. It's,
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Much more than I thought.
Yeah. You thought it'd be little.
I thought it would be basic,
Yeah.
and it's not.
Yeah. Well, good, man. So where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Ohio, in Akron,
That's right.
the Akron area where LeBron James is from.
Yeah. LeBron, you ever met LeBron?
Not exactly, but I grew up near him, and
Yeah.
we went to school around the same time.
Yeah.
And so I would always hear stories about him and
Yeah.
stuff, and we took different paths in life, but
Yeah, you did a little bit.
yeah.
Just a little bit. He was 18. He was going to the NBA, slam dunking for millions of dollars.
Yep.
And what were you doing at 18?
I was bouncing at a nightclub.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. What was that like?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I was the nice one.
That's good.
I didn't like getting in fights.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Now I'm fixing teeth.
Yeah. Well, so tell me a little bit about, how you got to being a comedian. Like, did you sit around and make your parents laugh, or did you tell jokes to get out of trouble or tickets or anything? Or when did you find out that you just liked making people laugh?
I don't know. I just picked up on it, and I got a lot of satisfaction for making people laugh. I think, it helps make the world a little bit more tolerable.
Yeah. It's a good time for it, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ohio State, is that where you went?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. So I got a question for you. It just seems a little crazy. Those stickers on the helmets, right? Those are supposedly every tackle you get
Yep.
or every interception you get or whatever. I've often thought, I wondered, what if we did that in life? You know what I mean? Just every time we did something
Get a
cool.
decal.
Yeah, every time we hit someone, in a car, we get a sticker, I don't know. You ever thought about that? I want you to think about it, Tom.
I would have a couple.
Yeah, you'd have to. That's good. Yeah. I don't know. I heard, this is crazy. I hope no one in China is going to trash me on the chat, but I heard there's a rating system there that they kind of walk around with. Like, it's kind of like that, whether you've paid your bills on time and, said your prayers or whatever, but there's kind of a rating system. And I don't know, have you ever heard that?
I just heard that if you hit somebody like a pedestrian in China, you should kill them.
Why? Because you get more in trouble?
You get in less trouble.
Oh.
You have to pay them, I think.
Oh, I see
And
what you're saying.
if they're dead, you don't pay them.
Where do you get your news, Tom? I'm just curious.
I don't know. Reddit.
Yeah, I always want to know where that's coming from.
I always wondered why they would back up again after they hit the pedestrian.
Yeah,
in those
that's
videos.
good. That's good. Well, tell me more about your pro life. You know, you ended up going into dentistry, right?
Yep, I became a dentist.
Yeah.
Did pretty well for a little while.
Did you enjoy that captive audience? Like, you get to talk forever, and they can't say a word. They can just go,
pretty much.
Did you ask them really deep philosophical questions sometime?
You know what? I've talked to enough people and had enough conversations that I kind of know what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's weird. It's
communicate
not,
more than you think.
It's not. Yeah, that would be an interesting language thing to teach.
Yeah.
You know, the mumble or the whatever that is.
Yeah.
What's the one thing about dentistry you loved, and what's the one thing that you're not too thrilled about?
I like that it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a very specialized skill to have. What I don't like about it is insurance.
Oh, it's a lot of hassle.
Yeah. Nobody has ever loved insurance, you know, and they don't cover stuff that the patient needs, you know. And
Yeah. Fred, I hate to correct you live in front of everybody, but Freddie McMurray in Double Indemnity, a movie about, I don't know, maybe 1939. Mom, correct me if I'm right on that, but Double Indemnity, he sold insurance. He loved it. I'm just saying.
Health insurance and dental insurance are a little bit different.
Okay.
And
I think his was life
other
insurance.
types of insurance,
Yeah.
life insurance. Yeah.
Okay. I think we lost most of the audience just now talking about insurance. Yeah. Yeah.
Come back.
I wanted some of them to go because they're, you know how they're going to be in the chat and whatnot.
That's true.
So I just testing to see if people want to be here. My mom will be here. She won't quit. Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, dude. Well, your mom matters too.
Yeah.
So thanks for being tonight. I can't wait to hear tonight. I can't wait to hear your set.
Thank you.
And thanks for making me laugh all the way to the Little Big Voices studio. I called him and said, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I just met you recently.
You came to Thanksgiving once.
I know you remind me of that, but I don't remember you noticing me.
I wasn't.
Yeah, it was good. So I know a couple of Tom's brothers.
I'm not theatrical at the house.
No, but yeah, you've got a really. I mean, every family member I've met are good people so far. Maybe that's the Ohio in them, or maybe y'all just were raised right, but good people. So I'm glad we're becoming friends. All right, everybody. So next up is we're going to have Stephen Davis sing, and after that, we're going to hear Tom make us laugh, and then we're going to have a chat with Melba and see some of her beautiful paintings. So thanks so much for being here. And I'd like to introduce Stephen Davis as one of the most kind, warm, talented, sweet, committed, heartfelt men I've ever met. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Stephen Davis.
Thank you, Mark. That was nice, a little too nice. This is a song I wrote for a friend who was a Robert Frost lover. She passed away last year. Light German. She was a long-time educator in Austin. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without the farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Shimei, let's go over to that slide here for a second. Hang on, stand by. Stephen, that was awesome, man. Thank you so much. How long have you been playing the ukulele?
Maybe 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I'm clicking the buttons and it's not going.
It's okay. Stand by, y'all. All right, everybody. Next up is Mr. Tom Adjan. And I'd like to just start here with, I've never introduced a comic. And, but I know how to light a comic. Like, isn't that cool, that light right there? Let's go to camera one when you can. Awesome, everybody. Yeah, isn't that nice?
Right.
Yeah. Hang on, we still got a crease here. Where are we? Right here. I did that for all of you people out there. Hey, by the way, y'all, something I want to give a shout out to one of my neighbor's parents. Yeah, and the reason it's so important is because they're our first Louisiana audience members. Can we give it up for them? Yeah. So I won't say their name just out of privacy, and we don't need everyone in Louisiana, you know, getting crazy right now because there are some crazy people there. I love it. I wish more Louisiana people would move to Texas. It's such a nice mix. Yeah, when Katrina hit, all these cool people moved to town. I thought it really balanced out our West Coast friends, you know. But I call this neighbor, just so the parents know I'm talking about her, I call her Cat Lady. And she lets me call her Cat Lady. But she's one of the coolest cat ladies ever. Yeah, dude, every day she's telling me something different. Like yesterday, she's like, yeah, I was a pilot for a while. I'm like, really? Because the day before that, she had was installing Time Warner cable or something for 5 years, like on rooftops and stuff. And then before that, she went to culinary school, you know. So it's just like every day is something crazy with her. But she's just was my first new neighbor here. You know, I moved in here and knew one person, but this person really befriended me. And just is teaching me the ropes, giving me the lowdown on all the people and stuff. So I just going to give a shout out to the Cat Lady's parents. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for having a great daughter. Yeah. So next up is we're going to welcome Tom Adjan to the stage. I'd called Tom because he was asking his brother about something. His brother's like, hey, man, my brother's going to call you. And we were going to talk about something completely different when we called. But he answered, and I go, what are you doing, man? And he's like, just writing. And I was like, well, what are you writing? And he goes, comedy. I'm like, really? And he told me a story, which is a really good story. I don't know if he's going to share it tonight or not, but it really compelled me to say, you've got to be on the show. I just like, he was perfect. And Little Big Voices is really about all these voices, all these stories. All of you have one, you know, all of you have one. And I want to hear them, and I think the world wants to hear them. And so that's what this is about, is just giving people a place to be seen and heard and to feel like they matter and feel like their story matters. So you can put stuff in the chat if you want to be on the show, if you want to crew the show, anything like that. This is a community-run thing. Like, everyone's just showing up with a bunch of love and a bunch of willingness, and they're like the crew tonight is all learning this stuff. Most of the crew, right? And so it's just really a joyous place to hang out. So if you want to be on the show or you got a story to tell, I'd love to hear it. And I have an audio podcast as well that is just kind of the audio only version that goes more in depth. But this is a place for us to get together and do some visual stuff. So anyway, I'd like to welcome Tom Adjan to the stage. He makes me laugh, and I'm just really looking forward to knowing him more and more. There's a lot of depth in there that I can tell. I'm just waiting to find. Please welcome Tom Adjan.
All right, yeah.
All right, thank you, Mark. Little Big Voices. Sounds like a bad mushroom trip. Or if I forgot to take my medication. So, we're fucking up the planet, guys. I've got a solution, and it's a new form of renewable energy. I'm talking about marijuana. Just have all the power plants burn that shit. No filters, just hotbox the entire planet. Let that THC flow over to Russia. It'll be a happy form of chemical warfare. That's a greenhouse effect I can get behind. Does anyone else enjoy navigating the American pharmaceutical empire? Yeah. Why am I more comfortable buying illegal drugs from my drug dealer than picking up a prescription at the pharmacy? My drug dealer doesn't require prior authorization. He doesn't need a note from my doctor. He invites me in, offers me a drink and some emotional support. CVS tells me my prescription isn't covered and it's going to cost me $2,000. Do you have any idea how much weed I could buy for $2,000? Enough to start dealing. It's like leaving a mental health hospital and receiving your bill. $5,000? How is that good for my mental health? Healthcare is wild. I saw a commercial the other day for a cream that reverses vitiligo. Yeah, a cream that literally brings the pigment back to your skin. Which means we could have had Black Michael Jackson back. Speaking of Michael Jackson, my psychiatrist gave me something to help me sleep. He said it would give me very vivid and realistic dreams. I was like, will there be women in these dreams? Anybody here use Reddit?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Reddit's just a semi-sophisticated cover for looking at naked women. I've seen more naked ladies on my cell phone than Genghis Khan has ever seen in all of his conquests. I'm actually a recovering porn addict. I'm currently recovering from watching porn earlier today. We're animals. We're monkeys. Do you guys remember the whole Harambe fiasco? Some kid fell into a gorilla enclosure at the zoo, and the zoo responds by shooting the gorilla. I've always wondered, did they even consider shooting the kid? There are billions of kids. There's like 30 gorillas left. They should have shot the kid. Hey. I stab children with needles. I rip their teeth out. Sometimes I even drug them. A lot of times, I do it in front of their parents. I got a license to drill. I'm sure I've hurt more kids than Harambe ever did. My left hand went numb. Kind of a bummer. Might not be able to practice dentistry again. One of my side stories. Strip clubs are only half as fun now. On the upside, I don't have to sit on my hand anymore to give myself a stranger. Online dating hasn't been great. I ended up settling for this flat-chested bitch. We don't have sex. We never had sex. We only cuddle. And it's honestly the healthiest relationship I've ever had. She shit on the floor a few times, but I look past that. Her name is Darla, and she's my dog. If you haven't caught on. She's done more for my mental health than a therapist has ever done. She's my top bitch. And it's not weird that I spend every night cuddling with a dog. There are SeaWorld trainers out here jerking off dolphins. Seriously, look it up. It's to help the male dolphins focus for training. I'm not going to lie. I was a little jealous of those dolphins. Those trainers were pretty hot. Don't feel bad. Or one of the dolphins, after one of the trainers left, who was so traumatized that it literally swam to the bottom of the pool and it killed itself. Don't feel bad for the dolphin. Dolphins are evil as fuck. They lie, they cheat, they kill, and they rape. I saw one the other day masturbating with a dead fish carcass. I knew that one was going to go well. So, I know I look like a farm-raised country boy, but I'm not. I'm actually half white, half Middle Eastern. My dad is Muslim. My mom is Catholic. It was confusing growing up. I wasn't sure if I should be strapping a bomb to my chest or getting sodomized by a priest. Either way, I'm a little too old for all that now. Because they target children. It's rough being one of the most feared races on the planet. It's rough being one of the most feared races on this planet. Oh, man. It's worth it. It's worth it. You got it, Tom. Yes. I had to change my thing at the last minute because it was getting too long. Constantly terrorizing the world with the threat of war. 9/11. And my Middle Eastern half is pretty scary too. Because the white people did it. Anyone else? I'll end with a conspiracy joke. Anyone else sick of this shadow government running the world? I've got a solution. And it's let me take a stab at it. Step 1, free Luigi Mangione. I mean, how did that not work? Honestly, I think that was a blatant psyop. Luigi Mangione was about as legit as that hologram they called Edward Snowden. And they just had to pick the most punchable frat boy CEO they could find. DUI and all. I'll tell you who's in the Illuminati. Whoever hired that jabroni. It's not cool to make fun of the dead. Sorry. All right. I'm pretty familiar with mental health disorders. When I saw Luigi's pictures at McDonald's, I was like, damn, that dude just came out of a bad manic episode. Imagine coming out of that one and trying to own it. Luigi Mangione. And then that rookie cop shows up and like instantly identifies this manic dude eating a McDouble. Holy shit, that's the guy. Dude, I couldn't even pick my own barber out of a lineup. Yeah. Luigi Mangione. Sounds like a CIA inside joke for deep state masturbation. Hey, did you Luigi Mangione today? You know that's classified, Johnson. More like Luigi Mangione. All right, thank you. That's all I got today.
Good job. Thank you, Tom. Oh, wow. Thank you, Tom Adjan. Please give him a big hand. All right, next up, we're heading our way to our interview tonight, which is going to be in the Jerry Cadell podcast studio with Melba Martinez. So for a minute or two here, Stephen, you mind playing a little bit of instrumental music? And check out the crew over here. They'll tell you when to stop. They'll do the wrap-up sign. But we're going to watch some of Melba's paintings. And then we're going to talk about this really incredibly interesting person and this work. So enjoy it. Thanks, Stephen. Wow, thank you, Stephen. That was beautiful. So, you know, one thing about having a show cook, you watch them super close because, you know, you don't know if they're going to bail. You don't know what they're doing outside. You know, they have stressful jobs. But anyway, I just saw Hermes, like, escape the kitchen. I'm like, what's happening? Is the quiche okay? What's going to happen here, y'all? So, man, thank you. Thanks again to Tom Adjan. And we're going to hear another song or two, if we're lucky, from Stephen. So, but right now, I'd like to welcome you to this little segment called Melba's Rose Garden. And if you've had the chance of meeting this woman, and you may have if you've been in Austin anytime the last 20 or 30 years, 30 years, you might have been her student, you know, at St. Edward's, been lucky enough to be her student and to study under her. Melba has just a couple of things, and I'll ask you, Melba, to tell a little bit more, but the things I've learned about Melba, she's directed over 150 plays. That alone is blows my mind. So, and she's multiple PhDs. We'll have to talk about why that was, what all that was about, you know, and really understand that. And these are just things that she's done. I mean, when you really get an idea of who she is, it really gets stellar. But and she paints roses, and it's a humbling experience if she decides to paint your rose, and she doesn't really ask you. That's what's interesting. She doesn't really ask you. All of a sudden, she's like, "I'm working on your rose," and it's a little like a fortune teller will go, "Oh yeah, you're gonna die tomorrow." You know, like you don't know, but you just believe her. So I'd like to welcome her to the Jerry Cadell, you know, podcast studio. Melba,
thank you
glad
so
you're here.
much. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and another thing I want to mention is Melba. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why this exists, the Little Big Voices studio and the Little Big Voices show, but you're one of them. You're one of the significant ones. So I was visiting Melba in her place and around the corner from here, and I went in, and it was really cool. Like, she had feng shuied it, I guess, which I don't understand all the way. We feng shuied this place now. Mm-hmm. But I was like, wow, this place seems to go on and on. It's so cool. and where she's supposed to be eating is her paint studio. And these are not big places. They're intimate. I like to call them intimate. And there she was, all this paint, all these canvas everywhere. And I was in the process of moving at the time. And so I was like, I used a lot of this equipment. And I have, but I wasn't using this set of equipment. It was kind of sitting in storage. And I thought, what if I just did that? what if I did that like what Melba's doing? And that started growing. And so right now this whole place is studio. And Melba, you've been a huge, I can't even describe the support you've been to me.
I mean, I love the studio. I mean, it's so much better than my painting studio. Every little, I mean, you've done a beautiful job.
Thank you.
You and your crew. I mean, it's fun to be here.
Yeah. Well, I want it to be somewhere where people feel heard and seen, like not just on camera, but when they're in the green room or when they're getting their makeup done or when they're in the kitchen cooking, you know, like they feel like all the right tools, all the right stuff is there to meet them and to just feel like, wow, somebody cares about me.
But also
You know?
your expertise with film, media, all the electrical hookups, awesome.
Thank
I mean,
you.
generally in the field, people will know one thing. They know video, they know film, camera, they know lighting, but they don't know all of it. And you, I mean, honestly,
Thank you.
really beautiful work.
Thank you. So Melba and I have worked on a few things together, and you know, a year or two ago, you're like, "Hey, can you film me doing something? I'm trying out for a play, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm auditioning, and we didn't get it together." And that was another wish I had, is that if I had all this set up,
Oh my God.
next time Melba needs
Oh
to
my
audition,
God.
we just
Oh my
like
God,
drop her
yeah.
in. Yeah.
Well, forget the audition. Well, you got to shoot the movies. I mean, I had no idea that you had that expertise.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not going to audition for anything. I'll probably just have you shoot the movie.
Well, I would like to announce you as just honorary infinium co-producer of the show.
thank
It's
you.
just
I-
the influence you've
I
had.
love
Melba sometimes will just bring me food.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she'll just bring me tacos. I was up working until middle of the night the other night, and there were these tacos, beautiful, amazing tacos. So, yeah, you're a great cook on top of everything else.
Well, that's a clue for you too. When I am impressed with things, and then I go and I'm preparing the meal, I can't help it but think about the people. So I don't start out cooking you food. I'm just cooking food, but because I'm thinking about you, I become conscious of that, and I think, oh, I'm supposed to, as like a tribute, like keep going, because really what you've done here is really amazing, amazing. I had no idea when you said you were going to turn it into a studio. This doesn't even feel like an apartment; it feels like a studio.
Well, I got this idea. One of the other ways I got the idea is because I've had these little weird jobs I wish I had. I always wished I was a short order cook. That was one thing. It just looks fun, and you know, you're talking to people, and everyone's happy with their hamburger. They're not going to give you a hard time, you know. And the other job was I wanted to be the bell ringer in a church and live on a little cot just up in the bell tower. It just feels peaceful. And sometimes when I'm at the church that we go to, when I'm up there at night alone, I feel like I'm just the guy in the bell tower, just kind of just watching out, staying alert and helping out. And that's what I feel like here. I feel like I'm just a guy that gets to be here because he knows the guy paying the rent.
Well, but also, I think it's a sign of, you know, I think one of the things that really attracted me to your ideas and to you is your level of creativity is off the charts. And that excites me because I hardly meet people that love to do. You love doing, creating, cooking, you know, the time you've spent on just your, you know, preparing your studio, moving in the equipment, connecting, and stuff that I just wouldn't have the patience for. You have the patience for, and you make sure it's thorough. I mean, and I think it's funny because all of the people that you have as a crew, they're exactly like you. They have this drive to create, and I can tell that they're going to be happy here.
Yeah, good. And it's a community place. Like if people do have a web show and they have nowhere to do it, they could come here and we could stream it to
my
their web
God.
show.
Oh my God,
you know?
you've just opened so many
Yeah,
ideas for everybody.
yeah.
I mean, every time I think about, like, I was going to be interviewed, all I could think about was all the things you could talk about. And not only that, but all the other things other than podcasts that we can make. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You have it here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a Santa studio.
Yeah, it feels like that. And I also want to give a shout out to Walt and Tina Wilkins because I was going through an extremely hard time, 5 or 6 years ago, just as low as could get. And just for the audience out there, if you ever wonder, at least I don't know if women are like this, but men, if a man's down, like give him a job. That's the quickest way to help him. A hug is always nice. We like those too, but Walt and Tina just found ways to put me to work, and sometimes it was just I had several men like that do that for me when I was really, really in a bad place. And but Walt and Tina during COVID, like most musicians, they couldn't earn their living, and so they just started broadcasting from their front porch.
Wow.
And so I saw him and I was like, I think I could help. And so that's how all this started. This little mixer right here.
Wow.
This mixer right here. A friend of mine gave me that microphone, that one that you're on, and a mic stand. And I bought this mixer for $400. And that's how the whole thing started. And so I borrowed another mic, and then I went up and bought another mic, and then I went up there and started helping the sound. And then I got my mom at the time, she'd loaned me $500 for a pawn shop computer, and I started broadcasting with that, with a couple of webcams. And I didn't have anything at that point, money-wise or anything. And so Walt and Tina, I just want to give a shout out to them. It just gave me a home. I had a great COVID largely due to them.
Wow.
And they influenced the show. Like during that show, I did it every Thursday, all the same equipment. I move in for 3 hours, 2-hour show, move out for 3 hours. And after the show, we'd make dinner.
What
turn
crew
on
did
some
you
music.
have?
Me.
Oh my God.
I was it. And then eventually Walt's son started working, and then another man would come up and help sometimes, but it was just me, and I was like hands and feet, changing cameras, hitting the switch, running the audio, and they were so gracious and kind. And then we'd put on records and just make food afterwards and hang out and wrap cables and stuff. And so just thanks Walt and Tina, because they would tip me out. They would make some pretty good cash during COVID because everyone wanted to do something. They wanted to give back, and they were home lonely. And so they would tip me out, and I would take that money and I'd buy the next microphone or buy the next camera. And that's where all this came from, So yeah, thank y'all for seeing me and hearing me and helping me out in a tough time. So, but let's talk about you, Melba. We're looking at some of these beautiful paintings, and I wondered if we could start a little bit in the conversation about you and this work, this part of you, and you'll be on more than once, trust me. There was a time that you didn't paint, and probably, would you say the majority of your life you didn't paint?
Oh yeah. No, I'm not.
Like
I've
2/3
never
of
taken
it?
classes.
Right.
And that was a discovery. I really was. I was suffering from grief. My entire family was devastated when my niece, she was 22 years old, right before she graduates from college, has a car accident, and it's tragic. And that, I lost my voice. And some friends of mine, gave me their tickets to go to the Hanuman temple. And that helped a lot. But when I got back, another friend across the street asked me to come over and paint. And I told her I've never painted before. I mean, I've painted, bathrooms and kitchens and sets and props, but not canvases. And I was really watching her and her partner do this big mural outside, and they were drinking beer, South Austin, having fun. And I thought I was going to use that canvas as a way to paint a woman with a broken heart. But see, I don't really know how to draw, so I thought I didn't really want anyone to know it was a woman with a broken heart either. So I put it at an angle so that it was a diamond and just watched them throw paint on it. But I knew in the middle had to be white for some reason. So I used a lot of paint, and it was like 4 hours later. And I thought I did a good abstract of a woman's head and her heart exploding. and all this color. And then I took it home and put it next to the trash can because it had all these fumes. But the next day, my daughter comes. She was 18 years old, and she was doing.
It was an
laundry.
outdoor trash can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
outdoor trash can. And she goes, "Mom, look what I found next to your trash can." And I was kind of happy because she was 18 years old, and the fact that she really dug it. And she looked at it, and she said, "Mom, what do you call it?" Because I told her I painted it, and she was like, "You painted it?" She didn't believe it. And I walked up to it, and it had dried very differently. And she goes, "What do you call it?" And I said, I didn't want to say woman with a broken heart. So the first thing that came to mind was Inside a Rose. And when you look at that painting, you go, this doesn't look like a rose at all. But she got it. She looked at it, and she goes, "Can I have it?" And I was so happy that she liked it. You know how she was 18 years old. You know, all teenagers think they know art or better than you or have higher, more finesse about art. And she said, "Mom," and she said it was the way that she said it. She looked at me seriously. She said, "Mom, you need to start painting roses." And she was serious. And I looked at her.
How old was she then?
18. And I looked at her like, and the first thing that came to mind was Georgia O'Keeffe. I can't do that. And I looked at her and I said, "Roses? I need to start painting roses." She goes, "Mom, you went to St. Rose's Catholic Church in Torrington, Wyoming." She was right. She goes, "Remember you won Best Actor for The Rose Tattoo?" That was a big play that I was in. And Anna Magnani played it in film, and it's a big role. She never leaves the stage. She won an Academy Award for it. And so she goes, "You played Serafina de la Rosa in The Rose Tattoo." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's coincidence." And she goes, "Mom, look at all your friends." She named about 10 friends that had the word Rose in their name. Rosemary, Rose Garcia, Laura Rose. They started naming all of these people. And I thought it was uncanny, and I thought it was even brilliant of her to put her all... I mean, she wasn't even born when I won that award for acting. She wasn't even born yet. And so I was a little taken aback, and she goes, "Mom, seriously, you need to be painting roses." So the minute she left, I called my friend that asked me to paint, and I told her what Adrian said, and she said, "Okay, I have an idea for you. We're going to tear your office area apart and make that a painting studio." And we did, the very next day. And the next big painting that I painted was 6 feet, 6 foot by 7, no, maybe it was a 6 by 5. But I didn't know you weren't supposed to go from painting a small 3 by 4 to a larger. And somebody should have told me, because my first beginning paintings, they were all like 6 feet, 7 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, they were big. Initially, all of them were huge. And
How did you reach all that? How did
well,
you reach the 6
to
foot?
me, what I loved about it, and in fact, I was looking at how they've changed. Because of the COVID thing, I had to get small. And that still didn't stop me. I got a air purifier, several of them, kept the windows open. I had to paint. And I don't know why, but what happened was once I started painting, something doesn't take over. Just it felt like I was in conversation with spirit.
Yeah. So.
And
So
the testimonies that came from that too.
Yeah.
But I look at those old paintings, and there was something at the time. Spirit was helping me heal. Also, I was getting a chance to be with myself. Like a friend of mine used to say, "Oh yeah, I know why you like painting. You like being with your thoughts." And I think that's really profound. I don't think people really get a chance to be with their thoughts. Having directed and produced and acted and going to school and being a mom and, I had 11 brothers and sisters in my family. I'm the third of the 11. I think I just got used thinking it was normal to have all these people around. And with painting, it's a solitary thing.
So you've painted quite a few of these. Have you lost track of how many you've painted?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it's over 1,000.
Over 1,000 of these. And
But it's been like 20 years, too.
yeah. The crew's been putting up some pictures. You want to look, you put up a couple more, y'all, and just let's look at them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, the thing I noticed, Melba, is the thing that really got to me was I called you one day and you were working on a rose for this man that we know that had passed away. And you got on FaceTime, and when you were talking to me and painting and telling me about it, you were like in this other zone. And I think anyone who knows you knows you're in the other zone. But it was beautiful to see you just be a part of the painting, just as you were talking about it. They're just stellar, and golly, they're just. You gave me one recently, and she didn't tell me, hey, it'd be okay if I did your painting. She said, what's your birthday? What time were you born? I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. So with mine, you could use mine or Kath, anybody use one, but say, what happens when you decide, why is it called to you to paint that person's rose? And then I can share a little bit of my experience of getting one or receiving one, but tell me about what happens with that birthday thing and what's connected with this astrology or what's going on.
Yeah, because it's all about energy.
Yeah.
I mean, as a director, as a producer, as an actor, it's all about energy. And it's all about light. And so, especially if I want to paint you as a rose, I need to try to get to an energy that, like people didn't see you, they just felt you. That's what you want to feel when you see the painting. And your painting took weeks. I mean, you're no simple person. I mean, and that's the beautiful thing is that pondering you is when I'm pondering someone or invoking spirit to ponder you through the color, the paint, I really have to be specific. And if it's not working, I have to scrape that painting. So, that's oil paint is expensive. So you want to be like your best when you're painting, but you also want to be open so that I can really, think about you. I can think about your color horoscope that kind of gives me an array of colors, and I can change things as like right now I'm working on a painting. I've been working on it for three or 4 weeks. It's just not coming.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about yours either. I knew when I saw it, it would happen.
Yeah. Well, when you presented that to me, and it's an interesting process because you'll tell people I'm painting a rose at some point, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you'll give them updates. You give me updates and stuff, and it's just anticipation built, right? And then when you presented it here one day and we hung it, I was so moved. I didn't really have language for the experience. And I think the best language I could come up with was I had never been seen and heard at that level. Like when I look at it, I see the deepest parts of me. I also, there's a lot of spirituality that I see, I see Christ in there. I just do. It's just like I've never really gazed on Christ like that. And it was just like this, it was just speaking to me on all these different levels, and just to be honored to have someone put that much trouble. And, also, dude, I go over your place and like, you can't leave Melba's without having some paint on you somehow. Like she'll bring me tacos, but there'll be paint on them somehow. Yeah. So it's like the paint has a life of its own.
Wow. And I really try, but you know what? You're so right. I mean, gosh, I can't tell you how many times how many times I wash my hands and feet or boots or car.
Yeah.
I mean, and I really try to be careful. But I want to get back to what you said about the spirituality part, because I was remembering your painting, and one of the beautiful things about painting people as roses is my capacity for love has. I really feel that we need to encourage, even demonstrate for people the critical ways that they will benefit if they saw themselves and others as a rose. Like if I gave you some paints right now and said, okay, I want you to paint me as a rose, all the things that you have to consider about me and all the variety, there is something very, that I discovered as I painted, there's something very deep and beautiful and significant about the rose. Number one, it signifies love. The color of a rose is important because that color has already, a language that's, been true for mankind for, eons. And there is a legacy about the rose. And that's why you have different leagues, the Rosicrucians. There's all this spirituality involved with the rose. And the fact that even after we are gone, that oil painting will still be here. And for me, that's really important because as a professor, I was really taken aback when I read the top theories on human identity and human
design,
human nature. And to me, it seems like people are not careful about what things that they see. And yet, if you only knew how much anything that you see on an everyday basis that your body thinks is natural, that is having an impact. And all the people that, put up posters or stupid things or even hateful things, that's not a good thing for our culture, for any human being. And to have your rose as a legacy to hand as an heirloom to your children.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
So I want to start wrapping up here just because we want to get to Stephen. Also want to check in with Hermes in a minute, see what's going on with dinner.
It's smelling good.
God, it's smelling good?
Yes.
Let's just check. You want to check in with him real quick?
Yeah,
and then I got a couple of things.
Sure.
Hey, Hermes, how you doing?
I'm gonna hang in there, I think.
How are we doing on time? I was trying to get you to get it ready by 8:30. How are we doing? I even have a watch on right now.
Is that Texas time or
Yeah, that's
California
Texas time.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness! I don't know.
Where are we right now?
We are about to put one of the quiches in the oven.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
Well, how many minutes you need on a quiche?
Ooh,
Well, be careful, Darlene's listening.
like an hour.
Yeah,
What? I know. That's what it's like. But you know what though?
It's what
We
it's
can
like
start
to
with
be
salad.
an aqua farmer, maybe.
Yeah.
No,
maybe.
dude, I got your back. And
great.
we're cool with eating whenever, right, y'all? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's got 3 quiches, but dude,
Quiches is the plural of quiches is.
Is it really? Okay.
It is. Yes.
Okay. That's good, man. Well, do you need anything? Are you finding everything okay in Disco Kitchen?
I need a time portal, like a warp portal.
Yes.
Can we create one of those?
Yeah, dude, we will.
Great.
Well,
That'll
in
be
a
awesome.
way, though, and knowing you, dude,
Yes.
knowing you is like a time portal. It really is. It's an interesting guy, man. I hope you get to know Hermes. And Hermes, tell me a little bit about what we hear about. Do you have a website for your farm?
Ooh, yeah. Well, I don't know if it's been like taken over by like Russian bots and stuff like that. Like I haven't even looked at the thing in a long, long time, which is kind of absurd because I used to be like a web programmer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you know what? That's like the how do they say the shoemaker's daughter shoe thing, like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine I said something that was correct there. Yeah. So sure, there's a website, kind of, sort
Yeah.
of, but yeah, it's
Hey,
like
something that just reminded me. Melba was laughing at you after.
laughing
'cause-
with me.
With you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So several people helped move in here. That was the beginning of the magic, right? Hermes was one of those. He dropped by with his daughter and she helped too. And
It was a moving experience.
thank you, Hermes.
Yeah.
Wow. We got
We're
2
cooking
comics
it here. We're
tonight,
cooking.
man. And it was a really special day. Several of you were here that day, and I left Melba in charge, which is just a good thing to do. And I said, Melba, I got a truck. I had some high school kids from Waldorf. Like, if you need to like take over a country, just get some high school kids from Waldorf. They'll just go, what do we need to do here? They'll build us some new things. Because they don't watch TV, and so they just like they're ready to go. I was amazed. So shout out to all the Waldorf peeps. Mm-hmm. And while we had a second, and then I want to ask you a couple follow-up questions. I wanted to do another shout out or two. It just feels like this for episode 1 to just keep. And there's people I can't even thank, but. Britt and Mary Leah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here without them. And they live by the Waldorf School. And so you just get the Waldorf energy going. But it was so strange. They showed up. I was like, who are you? They were so productive. They would just get to it. I was like, I guess that's what happens when you don't watch TV.
You know, the beautiful thing about them is they didn't know how to do anything at first. But they wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And they learned.
They did. Fast, man.
They put things together they had never done before.
I know. And so anyway, her music came over for that. And everybody was just so... I was packing up with the Waldorf kids and driving the truck over here. And I didn't go over until 1 o'clock. And many of you were already assembling things. Everything was in motion. And I just was like, whoa, what's happening? Like, get out of the way. We're getting this, though. You know, and people coming over, putting all sorts of stuff together. So I just want to say thank you, Hermes, for being one of that. And what's the name of your farm?
Esperanza Farm.
Esperanza Farm. That's a beautiful name. And sometimes you go to market. Where are some of the markets you go to?
So when I have stuff to sell, which has been spotty to say it mildly recently, I'm doing the downtown SFC market.
Okay.
Which is
That's cool. Thank you, ma'am. And is that quiche in there yet?
The first one is the
Stick it in there.
the vegan
Tom's
one.
hungry. Tom, are you hungry? Tom's in the green room, passed out right now.
Hey, there's snacks in there.
Yeah,
oh,
there
yeah,
are.
By the
There's
way,
snacks in the green room, y'all.
everybody load up on snacks, all right?
By the way, the crew, it's
Yeah.
a good time if you need a snack. Go with the green room. We got a green room, and Melba, oh my gosh, yesterday she set up the makeup station. We have 2 makeup stations, and God, I went in there. I was gone, and you fixed it up and put all this pro makeup in there and everything, all the tools we need. And I was like, God, this feels so good just to have this tools here.
It was so fun. I had to do a lot of stuff, but I couldn't help myself.
I know it.
It was
well,
so
okay.
fun.
This Melba in a sentence is, I can't help myself.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
true.
your tagline, dude. Because
is true.
when you get inspired, you
That's
can't
true.
help yourself. And I don't know, many of you crew or have been recipients of this. When Melba invites you to something, there's just like gravitational pull. It's like you kind of have to do it. Because it's just like, on the other side of it, some magic or whatever.
And magic does. That's the weird part. Is
Yeah.
magic does happen, and it's not me, but it's their drive, their desire. Like for example, Federico here, one of the people that you have on your crew, he was incredible.
Who are you talking about?
Federico.
Oh, Federico.
When
yeah.
he came to the,
He
I
is. He's
invited
sexy,
him
too.
and other people to help me with the labyrinth, to restore the labyrinth.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Taught us a few things, actually.
He did.
I didn't.
He taught us a few show tunes we didn't know, too, that day.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what's really, when I invite people, I want them to be creative and I want them to have fun, which means I want their input.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I lucked out.
Yeah. Yeah. So another shout out is Ready, Set, Drone. This is, I want to shout out to Kelly Shores and Chris Waters. Kelly did a little bit like Waltz when I was really down and I wasn't doing hardly any video work. It was just a rough time. I accidentally called him or something. I hadn't talked to him in years. And I was like, let's go hang out or something. I went to his studio. And before long, he was inviting me to be on shoots and stuff. And it just felt so good to be back at work doing all that. Anyway, his Ready, Set, Drone is a web show. And so every first Friday of every month, Chris Waters, he's also a producer and an audio professional, we three of us would get together in his studio and we'd put on a show, and it was like Wayne's World.
Wow.
It was just fun. Like, all of us have to do all this other work all day, and sometimes all the work's not all the fun. This was like playtime. And so we just like would build the show about 3 or 4 hours ahead of time. We run around here just like we were doing. And I just, if Kelly Shores is watching, I sent him an invite today. I hope you're watching, Kelly and Chris. I just value you so much for your professional, your friendship, just all the stuff you've done for me to help me get back in the game. Just can't thank you enough. And Ready Set Drone his conference, but he's just a great guy, and I'm flying drones now because of him and Chris. And Chris came and worked on this a couple weeks ago when we were doing a tech rehearsal and stuff, and just came in and just donated his time to just get us off the ground. So, yeah, I just want to keep thanking the people that got us here. And yeah. All right, so Melba, here's the question as we start to wrap up.
Okay.
Then, because we have more time now that we know we got an hour before dinner.
Right.
You know. But I don't know, Steven, you got like an hour's worth of music to play. And is, you know, when you're doing a painting like that, and how does it feel for you when the person receives it? Like, what's possible in your life all of a sudden? Because, you know, this creation piece that you're doing is there's a lot you get out of that, right? But then when you actually let it go, as an artist, you're bearing something, right? Like, you know, you're gifting this thing. What's it like when someone receives it?
That's the hard part. I love when it's done, but I want the person to be as in love with it as I am. To be, you know, like some people like shout. Other people are just stunned. Mm-hmm. They're quiet and they turn away. And I don't think of, sometimes I know that they can't receive it, or they don't really, they see something in the painting that reminds them something about themselves, and they go, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. And so lots of times I have to pray. That's the one thing I will say, is that painting allowed me to have church on an everyday basis. I see it as a spiritual practice. To me, it's not even painting as much as it is praying. And I pray that the person will see the beauty or the contrast or the excitement or something that's maybe latent or hidden, and or maybe not, they didn't expect, you know. Because some people expect like a perfectly formed rose, and if it doesn't come that way, it doesn't. And so I really, when I say that my heart has expanded, and I know it's the right thing for me, and I pray that everyone will experience the possibility by, you know, getting a couple of paints or brushes or watercolors, but some way to express yourself on a spiritual, as a spiritual practice, because that's when you see yourself be greater. Because we're told we're little people, and we buy that, but we're also big people with big voices, and everybody has a big voice and a little one, and a lot of us know just out of conditioning that we're, you know, we choose to do the little voice. But when you do your big voice, it's like you getting to see what you're made of. And when I take chances, like I knew I was taking a chance, even thinking about painting your rose, it's fearful. There's lots of times that when I finish, I bow to the painting and I always pray. And sometimes I get so mad because I go through all this paint and I'm like, that's not there. And then I worry because it's taking so long. And or you may not like it. And ultimately I give thanks to spirit, my spirit. I have actually think it's really helped me as a human being be a bit better person because I can see the potentiality. I didn't go to school for, and if people say they don't like it, I tell them, well, I'm not a painter, really. I'm more of a prayer. But there's something about expression and prayer that is really crystallized for me these last couple of years, because today when I paint someone, it's serious. And I don't like taking a lot of commissions because it's such a weight. Like a lot of people go, oh, I'd love to get commissions. I don't, because I take it seriously. I know that painting's going to be around for a while. And I even heard from a friend of mine that a painting of mine was at Goodwill. And I'm really glad that when she told me, I wasn't upset about it. And the reason I wasn't upset about it is, person must have been moving, couldn't give it to someone, or didn't think that much of it, and they took it to Goodwill. But the beautiful thing was this friend that was telling me that she saw a painting of mine at Goodwill. She then followed it with saying her daughter bought it the next day. So I feel like there's something about expression. I've done a lot of plays, a lot of films, a lot of videos, a lot of creativity. But there's something really deep about it. An oil painting that's you as a rose. And I really feel like your business, the Red Sun, when that came to me, all I could think of was the red sun has to be there. Because you have all this iconography, all this art, all this literature. You told me how you came up with that name for your business. And the fact that you are in your prime and you even decided to create this studio, it's Red Sun all over, and I applaud and salute your creativity.
Thank
and I
you,
hope
Melba.
your painting says that to you.
Yeah, it does. And I thought, thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being in my life. Thanks for all the difference you make.
Well,
Has she made a difference in y'all's lives? I mean, yeah. I mean, it's so. Maybe one of these days we'll get together and paint your rose.
well, you know what? Just you being in my life is a beautiful thing for me, and that's my way of paying you back.
Thank you. I wanted to give a couple of shout outs before we hear Stephen one more time. And we're also going to, before then, we're going to see a little more paintings. And Stephen, you mind playing a little bit more during Melba's paintings in a second? So get your rig ready. But when you were talking about the Red Sun, I really wanted to give some more gratitude to where that came from. I'm careful to talk about it because it's sacred to me. And I want to thank Walt Stewart, who... one of my mentors that was trained and indoctrinated by members of the Sioux tribe, and spent his whole life helping other men. He's got a place called Reconciliation Ranch out in Wimberley, and there's people that come through there in between the really hardest times of their life, and just heal. And he's an artist and a songwriter. But he taught me the Sioux traditions, how to build these fires and the medicine of the medicine wheel. And part of the Red Sun, I just want to give gratitude to the Sioux and to the Comanche and the Arapaho and the Cherokee and the Kickapoo. I mean, all of them that walked here before us. And the Red Sun is... one of the energies, right? So the direction of the east is the rising sun. The color's yellow, and it's a new day, And in that energy, I can always call on the new day, even if it's 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
And the songbirds singing, it's a new day, Mark, it's a new day. So that energy from the east is the emotions and all the spectrum, right? And then as the sun moves to the high point, that's where it's red, orange. You know, my logo has got that red and orange in it. Because in that position, the energy is the warrior energy, and not the warrior that takes a sword out and slashes, not the toxic warrior, not the shadow warrior, but just the warrior who stands tall because there's work to be done. And there's service to be done. And that's why I called it Red Sun, because I know that energy. I know there's more work for me to do here on earth. There's more service to do. And I love that. Noonday, we don't look at our shadows because there's no shadow at noon. We're working and we're getting things done. And then as the day goes on, the shadows do grow longer in the west. And we start looking at the west. And that's when we do start looking at the shadows and be brave enough to step into that. And Walt taught me that too, just every step of the way. And he let me come out there in my hardest times and just work on the land and build fires in the middle of summer. And he just, you know, he was so supportive. And I just want to give a shout out to Walt Stewart because, yeah, the Red Sun is so directly related to his channeling that with the Sioux.
And I love that you say that the Red Sun, it has this sacred
very sacred to me.
history.
I don't talk about that ever. Like it's never part of it because I don't know. I don't want to take something from the indigenous people that you know, I just want to honor them, you know.
And I think what you need to know is that by your enthusiasm, your can-do spirit, what I tried to capture in that painting, which, by the way, do we have a copy, a picture?
Oh, we're going to see in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll end the show with that.
I wanted to capture the nobility. Because, you know, like Amma said, she's an East Indian saint. She said that in the 21st century, civilization had to honor the male of the species because she said that nobility, that drive, that can do, it's because of the technology and all that stuff. She was saying that it's eroded the confidence that men have. And what she was telling, like a group of 30,000 people that I saw her in Dallas, she was saying, we have to take care of our men. And how important it was that men get to experience their manhood. And the way that you experience your manhood is you have ideas and you create and you execute and, you know, you don't necessarily direct. She said, you know, that's really, the women direct, but men get lots of value if you can appreciate what you directed and look what they did, you know. And I thought it was so beautiful because my mom used to say that the woman is the soil and that the men are the seed. And I really feel that, you know, like we need both species and we need to know the strengths and weaknesses, but there are things for men, like you said earlier, that you like to do. And the fact that you like to do and that you know that the doing helped heal you, I mean, that's what Amma was talking about, where you feel fulfilled by what you do. And you might have a list a mile long. It doesn't matter. That list is feeding you. Because look at the skills you have. Oh, my God. It's amazing. Anyway, I tried to capture that in the painting, and I wanted nobility to be something that you felt. Because I think everybody here, that anybody watching as well, there's something great about the fact that you've talked about you were down or that you had to struggle.
I was in the dirt, dude.
Or that you were in the dirt, or that you, and then to hear you now, I mean, that's what, you know, I've heard people say before, that's what life is all about, work. But if you see work in a negative way, it doesn't sound good. But work can be so thrilling and fulfilling. And you've distinguished why we have to work as people. look what we can create.
Yeah, and I think we're heading in. We're already in a little rough spot here in the world. It's a little shaky, and I'm just hoping and making wishes that all of us that feel called to that have an avenue to create, and that's part of this community studio. Is just come over. Let's create. Let's put something out into the universe that maybe somebody down on their luck watches and just feels like going at it again another day. That's my goal. Just kind of offer something up that people think, I'm going to try again tomorrow. I'm going to try.
Yeah.
You know, just I had people like that in my life, more than I could mention. I wish I could mention them all. Melba, thank you. I love you.
You're welcome. I love you.
I just honored to be your friend and
Thank you.
partner in crime and neighbor and food swapper and quarters. Quarters are a big deal around here. I love this place because everyone's looking for quarters. And I'm going to get a T-shirt. Any listener that wants one, let me know. I'm going to get one that says, I got quarters. Because in the 70s and 80s, it was all about that, like video games and washing machines. And like, who's got quarters? I got quarters, you know. And I thought that was over. But at this place, we need quarters.
We need quarters.
And we're always like, I got quarters. You got quarters? I love it. I just love it, love it. The last person I want to thank is two, really, Donna Stevens and Joy Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
So, longtime friends, but Donna has been bugging me, like, in that really cool, creative way. Just bugging me, like, when are you going to do a show? When are you going to do a one-person show? When are you going to put your story up there? When are you going to put your songs up there? And yeah, so Donna, thank you. Just thank you for believing in me and just, you know, pushing me. And Joy, just thanks for being on my refrigerator. You make me smile every day, and I know you believe in me. And it's just such a joy, literally, to know you. So I want to thank them and just thank all the people who put their hands on the studio. There's more work. If you want to come and just forget about your troubles for a little bit and do some work, there's always some fun work over here. If you got a show idea and you want to do a show, we'll broadcast it to your YouTube. Come on over. You know, endless possibilities for us to, you know, contribute to the world and get connected with ourselves, you know. So thank you. I'm going to wrap up with that. We're going to look a little bit more at some Melba Roses while Stephen plays a little bit. Go ahead and crank it up, Stephen. And after that, we're going to say goodbye. So in another minute or two, we'll say goodbye. And just can't thank you enough for being here with us tonight. And hope to see you next time. Stephen. Stephen, get over here. Hey, we just want to say thank you to everybody. Come on in, Tom. We're all looking right here.
This is Mark's.
Yeah, and come on in, Tom. Let's get over here,
We
Melba.
need a microphone.
Okay. We're going to open up the shot. All right, you got me now? Yeah, go real wide. Here we go. There we go. Come on over here. I want to see Tom, see Jared.
Otherwise known as Frederico.
Yes, Frederico. I'm sorry. And just thanks so much to Shani, and Sparkles, man. Y'all make me sparkle, make me laugh. This has been a great show. Thank you for watching. Let me get up here, Melba, so it's straight. There we go. Until down. There we go. That is a beautiful rose, and y'all are beautiful people out there. So good night. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on Little Big Voices Live. Have a good night, y'all.